Hello, everyone. Welcome to Synchronic Saturdays with Megan and Crystal. Today, we're going to be diving into introverted intuition and how that can play out and manifest in many different ways along a spectrum. If you're unfamiliar with what I mean by spectrum, go to episode 15, which is the episode where Crystal and I discuss how these cognitive functions that we know and love, exist. Normally the descriptions, we talk about it in just the middle of the bell curve, but there are multiple ways that these sort of behaviors or cognitive, orientations, you could say, play out differently. And the terms we're going to be using is high vibe, which describes something more light and airy and open and more of a higher frequency. And low vibe that is a more dense, lower frequency, more of a earlier evolved or not as evolved sort of manifestation of something. So how is it going today, Crystal?
Oh, it's going great. I've learned so much about NI this past week.
It's been crazy. Honestly, we have been messaging each other things about NI. So it was like, oh my God, it's so great that we get to talk about NI today.
Yeah. So something about me that's new and actually is perfect for the timing of this is, so for a long time, Megan was my only NJ friend. So, but like when I say, okay, not like literally because I knew other NJs, but like.
We never really opened up to share that real
Exactly,
NI.
yes. Because you have to be really, really close to an NJ for them to share NI with you.
Yeah.
Like it's really vulnerable for them. So recently, I've become super, super close with two NJ friends here in LA. And like for the first year of my life, here in LA, I didn't have like those people that were like my ride or dies. But now like both these girls, an INTJ and an INFJ, are my emergency contacts basically. And yeah, and I guess I also have a crush on my ENTJ former best friend coworker, who also blasted me with a lot of NI 2 nights ago to motivate me to
what
like.
Does that mean?
Shut up! It was like crazy. It was like the sweetest like reminder of how your free will comes from within. And I think
theory or FI could be so well. Even just like the FI in any TJ could be so like piercing.
I know. I love it. But anyways, so these NJs have shown me a lot, and like. They'll say things. I'm like, Megan said that before, but she was the only one, so I didn't believe her.
Wait, yeah. And so maybe to explain this in a different way if people NJs that are confused, I believe what you said to me before is that your SI sort of has an archive of the ways that people are. And for me, it kind of shattered that, or at least like didn't fit what a lot of your archives were. Because you didn't know as many NJs. And so
exactly,
I would do things that would like confuse you, or I would say, oh, obviously this about a situation, and you would like not see it and like not know where I got that. And so it's interesting to me that now you have other NJs that are giving you the same advice that I have already given you. Now you were like saying it's easier to accept because you've had multiple.
Yeah, because because then I can integrate it into my reality, because now it's popped up more than once. I can be like, oh, okay, this wasn't a fluke, because otherwise my NE will think it's a fluke.
I'm glad
like maybe
I'm not a fluke.
Yeah, well, if you only have one PSA, if you only have one NJ in your life, you probably can't accept anything they're saying if you're an NE user. Because literally, I can like name like the exact behaviors where like my one of my best friends, Maggie, an INTJ, she basically will like, she'll kind of like glare at me a little bit and be like, how do you not understand when she uses SE on me? Except because she's an NTJ, she's even harsher than you. She'd be like, Crystal, what the fuck? Crystal! Like when I won't like just do something, or I won't understand something. And it just reminds me.
Funny you say the word understand. We'll get into that.
Oh my God. But yeah, so I've spent a week or more ruminating in what the fuck NI even is, because I've just manifested so many to show me that it really is all about like diagnosing things and really mulling over things and then saying them this matter-of-fact way that makes everyone think that you're super intellectually superior when really you've just been thinking about this so much more than most people. Which Maggie also literally said she thinks about it more than most people. She's like, I realized that a fact of life is most people are fucking stupid and I do not deserve my attention. Because I'm like, why are they stupid? She's like, because they don't think. And like, I was just like,
that seems weird because smart people think. Why are they not smart? They don't think.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I was just thinking, well, that's something probably an NFJ would think, but never say as rudely as Maggie as an NTJ. But I was like, that's really true, because if I think about it, I don't like thinking in that exact way she's talking about, which we'll get into.
I think when you're using the word thinking, it's confusing. So, okay, I'm going to just share with you guys something that I have sort of come up with here. In having these discussions with Crystal about the different functions, so we hear a lot of words thrown around of what does this function mean, you know? And what I found in the FI video is that over a spectrum, no matter where you are, FI is seeking what matters, no matter what. And TI is always seeking the truth, no matter what, like compulsively, both of those. And SI, we discussed, is about homeostasis, trying to find homeostasis. And what I'm proposing today that we're going to discuss deeper, and we'll sort of show you how we came to this conclusion. The word I thought of for NI is understanding. Now, a lot of people might hear NI as being meaning, but even just everything you were just saying, Crystal, it's like, if you've ever heard an NJ be like, how do you not understand or something? Or like, or you're like, I don't So what we're going to sort of talk about and share examples on is, okay, well, actually, before I get to that, shout out to Michelle Wilson. If you're watching this, if you haven't subscribed to Michelle, go find her channel, because she is an ENFP that I guess is really working on trying to find correct words for things to describe these concepts. And so this is another thing I'm kind of stealing from her, and eventually I'm going to figure out how can I steal something while also crediting without annoying you guys by also saying every time I say the word, Michelle came up with this. So I don't really know, but FI and TI are two different ways to bias something. She's the one that originally said the word bias, so I don't know if I'm even saying it in the same way that she would, but FI and TI are two different ways to bias something. If you think something matters, that's a bias. If you think something's true, that's a bias. Like, not everybody is going to think that the same thing is true, no matter how true it is, and not everyone's gonna think that that matters, no matter how much it matters. And the thing with SI and NI is that they are both ways of mulling something over, ruminating on it. I think you used that word earlier. Mm-hmm. So in order to find homeostasis with SI, you have to really just process, you know. And like for NI, NI neglects homeostasis in order to understand. Right now, as an NJ, like healthier, I would say, like higher vibe versions of NI is gonna really have this wisdom of I understand. But lower versions of NI are gonna be like, oh my God, I don't understand. I need to know.
Oh my God, so true.
And especially for me with the NI and the TI, it's the truth and the understand. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and then for you, what matters? Finding homeostasis with what matters, you know? Mm-hmm. So eventually, guys, I'm very excited about this. I mean, I've been probably, and this is sort of a side note, but I've been working sort of my whole life, well, not my whole life, but to try and find terms. And it sort of hit me the other day, like, whoa, we're halfway done with these functions, and I have a good idea of these 4 terms that sort of gets those terms together, and they work well together. And I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of halfway done. And
yeah, also, you're talking about how, like, when we use the word seek to qualify what each person's seeking, you can make it into a spectrum.
Yeah.
And, like, you can see the degree to which they're high vibe or low vibe, because the degree to which they're seeking will vary.
Yes.
So I thought that was cool.
I'm so excited to flesh out more about that. But to really dive into NI, so I guess since I'm an NI user, I should probably start. Or is there something that you'd like to say though? 'Cause I'm trying to think about how to approach this.
I can just piggyback off what you were saying. I have like a lot of just NE insights that aren't necessarily organized a particular NI way, and because I led the way on like FI, I want to like hear what you have to say about NI and then like go from there.
Okay,
I can just remix whatever you say. Like, yeah, I love this thing. So
okay, so a lot of you got, and so my first thought when I was asking Crystal about the word NI, which actually the word NI, the word understand. Actually, Crystal, will you tell me what you told me the other day or yesterday about why you think that meaning is not that great of a word to describe NI?
Yeah, I guess I just think that meaning is in all of the introverted functions. You know what I mean? I just think that like some intuitive SJs I know are like, life is all about finding meaning. And like they say that too. And they're like these like little like super Christian like SJs that like found Jesus and shit, right? Or I'll be like, as an NP, I traveled to all these states because I was chasing meaning. And like, could you argue that that's like NI? I mean, perhaps, but I think that it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the nail on the head. Because
exactly. It's almost like it's not NI enough for NI. Like meaning is a non-NI user's version of NI. But
and it's hard for me to even think that there are people that don't want to understand. And I mean, everyone wants to understand. I mean, everyone wants to find things that matter, what's true, homeostasis, understand. And maybe, but like for me, like I've been told multiple times in my life, like it doesn't matter, like it's not that deep. Like you don't need to understand all that. Like
exactly. It's like that
just
word.
Get over it. Like you're overthinking. Like you don't need to geez,
yes.
Just live a little.
So this is what I'm thinking. Like the words meaning and understand, when you put them together or when you put them side by side, all the types can find meaning, all the types care about meaning to some extent, but it's kind of like when everything, and like it could look like NI, but when everything falls away and you boil down NJs to only things NJs do, like to when they're the last one standing, it's going to be the understanding. Like to me, that word it isolates behaviors unique to NJs. Because I would say that NJs don't freak out when there is no meaning, because they always know that meaning is out there. It's when they don't understand the meaning. Because I guess I just think that meaning is just like commenting almost on like something almost like external for everyone to like take from, as opposed to understanding is like the subjective NI. Like to me, meaning almost seems like kind of like NE. And I think that like everyone finds meaning in different things, but understanding just seems more of like a subjective thing, like almost like an introverted function. And meaning doesn't seem like a subjective introverted intuition. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you think about it.
Let's like talk about, and we're going to talk more about NI too. This might even take 2 episodes to fully flesh out, but let's talk about how NI and SI go against each other. So I have no problem living in squalor if I have this hero's journey idea in my head of, oh, well, I know that all of the greats have had to do this, and all of the great people have had to take risks, and
you understand why you're there.
Yeah, I understand why I'm there. It's like, oh, it's hard now. I don't have a foundation, but I will one day, because I'm doing all the right things and I'm following this thing. And I don't freak out. And it's like, we'll have to talk more about how these things directly oppose each other, like FI, TI. That sometimes they are directly opposing, even though they mirror each other. They're almost like parallels is what it's like. They're going in the same direction, but they don't touch. Like they're not. Would you agree that parallel? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not parallel, but
I think NI and SI. Well, I think the like FI, TI, NI, SI do run parallel to each other. I agree with that.
Well, because like I am not seeking comfort. Like I'm not.
You're not
Like
seeking necessarily homeostasis because you need. Okay. Oh, wait. I just saw something. Do you want to go on? Well,
no, go ahead.
what I was going to say is like it makes me think that like. So the introverted perceiving functions like NI and SI, they're both about like kind of consistency, right? But I think of like if you have an understanding of something, it's almost like you have like an inner like brain like homeostasis. Like everything here is like settled.
Yeah, like things could be going on around and
you're like
my place could be disorganized.
And you're like cross-legged, like
it's like
because
it's also
everything
sort
here
of
is
this
fine.
like I know exactly what is happening.
It's
like,
calm up here.
Yeah.
Understanding means calm up here.
For example, like maybe an SI user would find it stressful if there was like a conflict going on. And so I know that ENFJs and INFJs are stereotypically, and Enneagram will play into this, but stereotypically not really fond of conflict necessarily because like the FE wants people to get along. But if you look at like the EIE description in socionics of what ENFJs are like they're very aggressive. Like betas are very aggressive in certain ways. So the NFJs don't shy away from conflict nearly in the same extent as SFJs do. And so I guess if we look at this like sort of conflict thing, like NJs in particular, we aren't going to be the ones like SPs that, well, they use NI as well, but we aren't going to be the ones where we're like fighting the wall. But we are going to sort of lean in and be like, I know exactly what is going on here. Like, I'm not going to let this scare me because I know that this is a part of life. But see, the NTJs are going to see all the moving parts and they're going to see this fact and this fact and this fact, that all those things. NFJs are going to want to know the more of the people aspect, or like, and you know, NTJs can still be focused on people and NFJs can still be focused on things. But the thing that we're trying to understand is either FE or TE. Like if I'm in a situation that is tense and does not have homeostasis, it wouldn't bother me to the same extent. That would make maybe an SI user want to hide, like in fear of the thing, because the reason they do that is because they don't understand what's about to happen. And so shout out to ESTJ Amy, if you're watching this. She had a really great metaphor that was on Discord. If you aren't in Kat's Discord, I'm going to link that below. It's just a Discord server about personality typology stuff. Anyway, Amy said that it's almost as if the SJs, if they're looking in the future, they see all of the obstacles already there and they don't see the path. And as if the NJs don't see any of the obstacles, but they see the path.
Dude, that's so
true. When an obstacle shows up, an NJ will panic. Like absolutely panic.
Do you resonate with that?
Absolutely. Like, and I was talking to a lot of STJs the other day, actually. That was interesting. But I even said to them that like, oh my goodness, my car light came on, or like my gas light came on whenever I was on my way home. And I was like, oh geez, now I'm going to have to find a time to do that. And they were laughing like, I never let my car even get below half a tank. How did you not know? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just like always filling up my gas tank. I feel like I literally just did it yesterday.
As an MP, I'm like, yay, it's okay to fill it up when it's halfway. The car.
They're like, oh, whenever my gas light comes on, it's like, oh, that's about right. They're like expecting it. And like, me and my INFJ girlfriend were joking the other day of like, I feel like my life is like constantly doing dishes, constantly cleaning myself. Like, it's almost as if I have to do it every day. Like, what? Like, we were like just sort of joking about that. But it was like, oh my God, like, why do I have to, like, for some reason, those obstacles are still like a surprise. Like, and I know that sounds okay. Like, you have to realize that like a lot of people idealize what NI is in the community because it sounds you have to realize. And so I think this could be a good segue to talking about like unhealthy NI or like low vibe NI. We have to realize that it's not that pretty because, oh my goodness, we're living in a world that's mostly built for SJs, that we are seen as stupid in a way for forgetting some of those things that are seen as foundational. I mean, people with SI, they build a foundation, then they go from there. That's not like, we want to understand. Once we understand, then we can try and achieve a flow. I would say that a healthy NI user, and healthy high vibe NI is like in a flow state. And that's like a psychological term. It's the flow of life. It's not homeostasis. I know where my protection is and I know what to expect. I understand that this is how things are, and that's that. I don't know.
Pretty much. I think like SI has so much homeostasis in an outer way because they know how their body affects things. But I think NI has like this understanding, or seeks it, because then it's like your mind's like good to go. You know what you believe, and you know how that will like shift. I think when sensory things come out, NI users don't see those obstacles.
I have actually something crazy to share. So I don't know if those of you who are watching the video, if you can see this, but it is a graph of like all of these different people with like different, or it's like emotion. It's like saying anger, where it is in the body, love, where it is in the body, and all that. And I was talking about this with SJs, and they were like, oh, well, yeah, I normally feel anger here, or I normally feel love here. And I was like, what the hell? I want to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. There are these STJs that knew exactly where in their body they feel love. I'm the ENFJ. I'm supposed to know what love is. I know why I feel love. I don't engage with my body in that way. And something so cute, shout out to Max if you're watching this, an INTP looked at this chart to decide that he was in love with his girlfriend. Wasn't sure.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Wasn't sure if it was true love until he looked at the chart and realized that the sensations in his body matched what love was.
I'm gonna like throw up. Whatever.
I thought that was so cute, but also can't relate. Like, cannot relate. And I think if we really realize, I think NI is very propped up in how we talk about it as though it's everything that there is, and SI is viewed as lesser, and that's just not true. Like, it is a choice. Like, everything in life, I mean, like, not that I'm not saying that your personality is a choice, but like everything is like give or take. Like, you either are really good at SI with bad NI, you know, or you're really good at NI with bad SI. Like,
even for Ps.
Yeah, well, like to the extent to which you favor something is going to matter. Like for you as an ENFP, you have inferior SI, and then you have NI ignoring, and so the strength of it.
It does change, I guess, based on my mood.
You don't fully, like, you value SI more, but it's weaker, and you have stronger NI, but you value it less. And so for you, you can kind of see both in the way that I am with like TI and FI. Like, you can see both, but it's not the same as for NJs who, you know, like, that's why there's the blind spot. Like, a lot of people just are memorizing the sociotics terms without really thinking about, well, why is that the blind It's like, it's the blind spot because I am focused so much here, and also it's my auxiliary function, and so NI is literally propping up and helping me with everything I'm trying to do with FE. And if it, I can't be comfortable. It's impossible to change the world when you're comfortable. Like, you know, like, and you have to choose. Like, you can't stay comfortable.
So, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
But anyways, so, yeah. Because I was like, that might piss people off. Like, you can't change someone if you're comfortable. Not because what you said was wrong, because it's true. I think that some people because we live in an SJ society, and a lot of people in the type community think it's more noble to want to change the world than to be comfortable. And I think that's a misconception because, you know, while NJs are out trying to change the world, SJs are just kind of keeping it up as it is already. Like,
yeah, but
we didn't.
that's
We
important too.
No, exactly. I'm saying people don't always think it is. I don't know who, but like, I just am aware of the NEA perception that people have that like, and like you said, like the type community treats NI like it's so superior and stuff.
Well, if everybody was changing the world, then what would even be happening? Like,
yeah, there would be no world to change.
Yeah.
And I think that what I want to do is like dispel that idea. And it's interesting because we're talking so much about comparing NI and SI because we really are trying to look at all sides of the perception of NI.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's impossible to even really know what NI is unless you know what it's not. And so many people talk about all the things that NI could do. And I mean, I
think people also just don't know what SI really is either.
Yeah.
Which is why we spent 2 videos on it. And why we'll probably honestly have to spend 2 videos here.
Well, the thing is that anybody can do everything. And so if we are still talking about NI as having these mystical visions, then we are not talking about what NI is.
Okay, yes. And like to go off of that, I think the misconception of NI, like where people are like, oh, it's like all these mythical visions. It's not NE plus. It's not like NI is NE with added like things. NI doesn't have NE.
It's not like NE applying itself.
Exactly. NI is like, I think that you only have those mythical visions after you have spent who knows how long, maybe like decades, just mulling and trying to understand with every single breath you have.
That's been me trying to understand personality.
Yeah, and like it's a meticulous process. People just see the NE like end result of their mythical visions, when really, as someone who's kind of becoming a tarot reader, I have visions more instantly. So if you can say I'm actually the wise one sometimes, but not really, because it's not
well you also can tap into NI as well. But
yeah, I can. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not like if NI is having all these mystical visions that just happened out of nowhere. It was because of breaking your back, trying to achieve this like
understanding,
like mental kind of intuitive planes of like insight, and you know, like how, and I just talk about how they want insight into blah blah blah. That's understanding. Oh wait, okay. So I want to talk about NI actually in my life lately because it's not just been from talking to friends. So I have 2 anecdotes to share. First anecdote is I was hanging out with my NJ friends, and I've been trying to start kind of freelance, like my life as a freelancer. I don't really know how else to like explain it because I have a lot of things going on, and like I have my like writing and journalism stuff, and I also have like tarot stuff, like business consulting, with, like intuition. And I was just like complaining I don't have like a structured like, because right now what happens is like clients are asking me to like help read for them, but I don't feel like organized enough to like know what I'm giving them. They just want me to give them something, and also like I have all these ideas for what I can give them, but not how to organize them. So then the NJ, my INJ best friends, sat me down and they said, okay, now write down your 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year goals. And what I've been doing most of my life is knowing where I want to be in 10 years and then watching it shift here and there. So I was like terrified. I literally stared at the page because what they did was they were like, oh, and to make this less scary for you, we're going to also write down our like 1 month, whatever, the log goals, so we can all share together and you can see it if you don't understand how to do it, because they could tell that I was panicking. But it's funny because I've only been friends with these INJs for like 3 months, basically, like a little over 3 months, but they just understand me so much because I realize that they've been taking every single word I say about myself so seriously. And they'll ask questions to understand it, because they would just say things and I was like, how did you know that about me? They're like, because you said it. Like, I'm like, but what do you mean? And my INTJ,
a lot of people just don't pay that close attention.
Yeah, it's funny because when an INJ is your friend, like, because NI is all they see, it feels like you're being microscopically like examined, or something. Like my INTJ friend was like, I just understand you, that's all. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but like
Well,
basically
my girlfriend's an INFJ, and there's a lot probably about me. This sounds weird saying, but there's a lot about me that a lot of you guys on my YouTube might know that maybe I've never even said to her, but there's also been no need because she already understands me. Like, I mean, I have explained myself to you, Crystal, so many times, and I've never had to even explain myself to her.
yeah.
She already knows me.
And I gets it instantly. I think it's easier if you are also an NI user.
Yeah, and
but,
it's not the same thing as how like maybe an NFP would like relate to someone with FI and make any assumptions that they are similar to them. Like it's not the same as how like she's just assuming because we're similar. Like she's seeing me and she sees how we're different. Like, you know.
I think it's like NJs understand like the whole like mechanism. Like they're like X-raying the process of that person is how it seems. So basically, like so I was trying to write down my fucking goals for 1 month, 2 months, whatever. And I was just like, I can't fucking do this. I literally don't know what to write. And they were like, yeah, you do. And I was like, no, I literally don't. Because I've never taken the time to understand what it is I'm trying to do. I actually said those words. So
I can't not know.
Exactly. I was like, I know what I could know, but there's so many possibilities that I don't. And I was trying to boil it down into a process that would go from, because I was aware that I would have to go from 1 month build into 3 months, build into 6 months. And I was like, and they were really nice. And they were like, why are you struggling, do you think? And I was like, I think it's because I've never had to think about it like this. And I've just always thought that I have to take what life throws at me. Like I cannot write down what I think or what I want to happen. And they're like, but how else are you going to manifest it? I'm like,
okay,
really?
that is so true. Okay, so that's actually something that Kat, shout out if you're watching Kat, she's also an ENFJ, was talking about, is that how NE and SI is more likely to think things are happening to them and then using NE to try and go around it. Whereas SE and NI is thinking life is the thing that I just created. And
like I think of SE and NI as grabbing life by the horns and staring it down and to understand it. And I'm like not that way. Like I think that I have understood in a general sense some things.
But you're also you have enough of a homeostasis that it doesn't matter. You don't need to understand it because you can get by anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, but like matter.
Exactly. You know? But like as someone who's not a J and favors either SI or NI that much, I think that for me, I think NJs, like because I as an NE user still have some NI that's like unfavored and really unconscious, but it's still there. I still have intuition. I understand things enough to where I'm like, okay, that's all I can handle for now. I'm gonna go achieve my like sensory homeostasis because my body literally can't handle like consciously imbibing that much energy.
Well, so something that I would just like, something I'd like to clarify is whenever you were talking about like setting a goal like that, and I think NI in many ways is associated with that sort of strategizing and goal setting for like the long term, looking into the future, all that. For me, whenever I say I can't not know, it's not out of arrogance. And I think that a lot of times NJs can seem like, oh, you don't know? Because I like know. You know what I mean? Like, I want everyone to understand that that's the only way we know how to cope with life. If an obstacle comes, I don't know what to do. Like, I absolutely crumble. And
yeah, you do.
I absolutely crumble. I do not adapt to what happens to me at all. I don't know how. I make what happens happen. And I spend so much time thinking about what I want to happen, and then I do it. And that's my comfort. I don't need the homeostasis. The understanding that I know what I'm doing is the comfort that I have.
Yes. And what I will say, like to validate that is, I think that most people just, they see NJs when they're just kind of chill and doing whatever. But I feel like very few people ever see that have the privilege of seeing NJ actually break down. Like, unless you,
yeah,
like, I think a lot of people in the typology community might underestimate
the
how an
breakdown.
NJ looks when it breaks down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when there is no understanding, holy shit. Like,
So
I can,
here's
like,
an idea,
yeah,
actually. So do you have to leave in 10 minutes?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so I think I would like to sort of touch on that and get people thinking about that, but it would be, I think we should make 2 other videos. This is introducing the spectrum of NI. Then the other video is what NI looks like when it breaks down, and how does NI actually have
Oh
its
yeah,
natural
dude. We need to literally like go behind the curtain and be like, listen,
Yeah.
like, because the thing is, I know a lot more about NI because I've watched you break down, and that's when I
so many
really was
times.
like,
Would you like
oh
to
my
share a
god,
little bit about what that's like? Like, I mean, you are
yeah,
completely welcome to say anything like about me. Like,
oh my god, yeah, like, well, as a PM, I'm going to probably describe what I see. To me, it looks like the lights. The only way I know how to explain it, ironically, is with NI.
it's
But
okay.
like, it's like I just get a vibe that like the lights. It's like, ooh, how about this? Like, to me, NI users constantly have a fire burning. There's like some Kindle. It's cute fireplace. But then when they start freaking out because they like don't know where their future is going suddenly or something, or like they're realizing that they like they're like realizing that they just don't really know how to deal with the hand life has dealt them. Usually if they're like, say, running out of money, or if they don't know what to do, it's like the fire starts burning bigger and starts eating up all the wood around it, and it's like gonna go out because there's nothing to grab onto. And that's what it seems like when an NI user's breaking down. Like, they're just like spiraling suddenly because there's so much that it's like, to me, they just look like there's so
Oh my
much
God,
that,
we spiral a lot.
yeah,
I
like
wonder
it's
if
like,
that's special to NI, or, well, everyone can spiral, but like,
I think so,
really
but like
get
to me it just
specific.
seems like NI users suddenly have nothing to go off. Like, they have nothing sensory to ground them. Because, okay, like my SJ roommate, to contrast, when she's
Feels like a
upset,
black hole.
she literally holds on to like a doll. Like, she literally holds on to things, or she starts eating to like help herself calm down. No NJ fucking can do that. They're like kind of lost in their heads. They're so obsessed with that they don't understand. Like, that's the only thing that they understand, that they don't
And
understand.
it's like, I'm not going to be happy unless I understand what's happening right now.
Yeah, and because you have nothing to really, like, it's almost like all you can see is that you don't understand. Like, you're clinging on to, I understand that I don't understand, at least, and everything else just starts like it's like a fucking, it's really painful, honestly, to watch as an NP, because I feel like I can just so channel almost like what that feeling must be, and I have never felt that before because I have SI. I always have a bottom line of, I remember when I remember I got up this morning, like, it's like when I'm having a panic attack, I always have like some kind of SI bottom line that I feel like I hit with like things I know about my
Oh my
reality.
gosh.
And I think NJs don't have that. Like,
So
because they're always going.
remember when I was spiraling about my future career whenever I was about to drop you off to the airport?
Mm-hmm.
What did you pick up about, or I'll tell you how I responded the day after, but just for interest of people, what were you picking up about me in my mood? And I don't know how this would relate to NTJs, but I think this is an NI spiral. What were you picking up in my mood whenever I was driving you to the airport, freaking out?
You were dwelling, and it's like you were so zoned into the problems you couldn't zone out to anything else but that. Like, it's like, this is the thing that you don't understand. It's like sticking out to you. You don't understand like how to keep moving forward. It's kind of like almost like you hit like a little obstacle of a roadblock of like, you can't hack, your mind can't hack its way out of it. Like, because to me, whenever I run into an obstacle, I use NE to like imagine something else to think about or something. But it's like, for you, it's like if you hit it, you can't even get yourself out. Like, it's like you can't even say, well, at least I have this, or maybe I have that. Like,
SI is very practical in getting themselves out.
yeah, like I have this like specific mantra for when I'm upset that's like, I feel so much better that ... And then I brainstorm reasons why I feel better, or reasons why I'm grateful for this, at least. And I don't think that works on NI at all, because it doesn't fix the problem that they have not been able to understand. And I think it's almost like
the only
awareness.
I think being grateful is good in general, but what I'll do is like, oh, I'm grateful. At least I'm doing this right, as opposed to at least this happened, or at least whatever.
Yeah, I feel so much better at that, because it's like life happening to me, like an external thing, as opposed to at least I'm doing blah right, is what NJs do. I feel like for you is almost like, I just think of it as like a very sharp, like your perception is like literally like stabbing yourself in that moment when you're like dwelling, like you're being stabbed and you're trying desperately to try and like stop the stabbing, but you have nothing else to like.
And I think for me, like for betas, so anyone that has like the NI and TI, it's very much zoning in on a problem and diagnosing it so hard that the solution seems completely impossible. But like,
yes,
for NI and FI, if you're a gamma, that will feel more like just pain, like that will never end. Like it's not the same. It's not the exact same, because since we judge differently, we're like, you know, it's very hard to just look at NI without looking at how it interacts. And so a lot of what we're about to describe with this, like, it is because I'm a beta, and because I'm diagnosing this problem, that like an NTJ might look at what I'm doing and offer some TE that maybe would help them get out of a similar thing that wouldn't help me, because my TI is also going inward with that. But
yeah, because I was thinking about like, I'm trying to think of like my NTJ friends and when they spiral, because I used to like work with my ENTJ coworker / whatever crush she is, and whenever people would accuse him of doing something he did not do, he would be obsessed about plotting like a TE style revenge or something to like make himself feel better. But he would not fucking stop talking about it. I'd be like, can we talk about anything else but the fact that this person got you wrong? He would just be like, you know, it's just really fucked up that some people in this world are just like that, you know? And I'm like, I know, like, can we talk about something else? So it'd still be that obsessive, like, this, like, trying to understand.
I'm realizing my ENTJ cousin has done that too.
Yeah, I'm just
with like the way that like her dad was like kind of a shitty dad, and like, well, like, yeah, but like I don't dwell on the FI, you know, like,
yeah, but it's still like dwelling, because for you, you'll just kind of like look like a sad little cat and be like, oh, and then NTJs will just not stop fucking talking. Like,
it's almost like thing. I have
There's
all
like no
of the problems. It's like I feel all of the world's problems on my shoulders, as though I'm supposed to solve them or something. And I feel like
it's kind of weird.
NTJs might seem, I think they could be very loving people, but they also could be very numb if they feel like all the world's pain. Maybe I don't know.
I think they spend time trying to avoid it, and that's why they keep fucking talking.
But they're aware that it exists. That's for sure.
Yes, for sure. Like literally, my ENTJ BFF would just be like, "Yeah, like I just think that like," is they're preaching. That's what they do when they're like upset. For NTJs, I feel like they start preaching, and NFJs will preach when they are feeling okay, and then they'll just fucking clam up when they're sad. And NTJs are like, when they're like not upset, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's just like NI like fucking manifesting in like
that's
almost
interesting.
Opposite ways.
Well, do you feel like, okay, because like I've gotten like the comment before that like I apparently look like I'm about to cry like in my videos and stuff.
Yeah, because
and I wonder
NI.
Oh, well, it's like sometimes I am in a mood before I make a video, but normally I'm like in a normal mood. In fact, I would probably not want to make a video if I was in a very, very bad mood. But like, no, I'm not about to cry. Like, in fact, I do that. Like when I'm preaching, maybe I feel normal, you know?
Yes, but I feel like NJs are always sort of in a not bad mood necessarily, but like they always seem a little sad. Because, you know, there's just so many things that they haven't understood or figured out yet. They're probably like always kind of aware of that. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, well, what would you say? Okay, so wasn't I like stressing you out the way that I was whenever I was like, let's talk about it. Like what was annoying about it?
Just that there was literally nothing that.
Or what was I doing? Can you explain what I was doing?
you were just dwelling. You were stuck in your head.
How was that bothering you? And how did you know I was dwelling?
Because the symptoms were like you go quiet and you'd have nothing new to say or engage with anything I'm saying, whether it's about the topic.
It almost sound like a broken record.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe you think you sound like a broken record, but it's only when you actually like speak. Because to me, when someone's like a broken record, they keep fucking talking, but you don't even like talk. Like you're like just more quiet than usual.
Maybe my brain was a broken record.
I think your brain felt broken, but it's like your responses to me would be like a broken record, but you wouldn't even have that much to say in the first place unless I like tried to like engage you. So it just felt kind of like I was talking to a wall. Like is kind of what it felt like.
I guess I'm trying to help the NPs that maybe haven't engaged in that way with an NJ know like what that even looks like.
I just feel like it's like the light went out in your friend and they're just kind of like almost like dying a little bit. Like I don't know. Like
that happens to me.
That sounds very alarming, but I just literally have like feared for like my NJ friends' lives before when they're in that state.
Well, like, that happens to me like multiple times a week, but I wouldn't consider myself depressed. I think that it could maybe look that way to some people, but like I always get back up. Okay, so I guess the reason I even brought up that as an example is that I was pretty much feeling like there was no way to do anything with a career and that I was going to just be stuck in society forever or something like.
Yeah, and I think it's hard for me to deal with as an NP because I feel that way too, but I always use SI or NE to like get around that feeling. It's like if I go too close into it, I feel that too. Like
I was feeling that, and I was driving back to work after I dropped you off at the airport, and I was bawling the entire time and thinking like, if I got hit by a car right now, it wouldn't matter because life is dumb. Like life doesn't matter. Like there's nothing. Like there's nothing to understand. Like I don't know anything. I just felt like I don't know anything. And I've seen my girlfriend be like that too.
Yeah, and like my ENTJ BFF has said and talked about like how he did a bunch of drugs and was like super into frat partying when he was in college because he just kept feeling like there was no point. Might as well die young and just kill myself this way. Like it's still sort of a weird, and to tie to understanding, I think it's like when you just are so aware that you cannot understand more in this moment, there's no SI of, well, I've understood before and people can understand all the time to like try and comfort yourself as like a fact. NI is just focused on that it can't understand.
I think low vibe NI is very nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Oh my God, that's so true. But I actually gotta go because I have to introduce someone.
Okay. Can I say one more thing, or do you think I should just wrap it up? Okay, well, I'll say goodbye to you and I'll wrap up what I was gonna say, but thank you, Chris.
I think that you should tell the viewers because I think that you have a lot more to offer on this NI thing. And
then we'll get back to talk about it.
Exactly. But for next episode, I also want to talk about, actually, ironically, this interview I'm doing is for an article where I had to use NI. So we will get back to that next week. But I'm going to leave for now.
All right. Bye, Crystal. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, of course.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So really the thing that I wanted to finish before I left was the fact that when that sort of meltdown happens, when all of the sudden I don't even know what I'm looking at and I have nothing to grasp onto, within minutes or like I just eventually things are fine, and then like I forget that I even had that meltdown, and then it's like, oh, okay. And normally what happens, and this is so connected to SI here, like the NI and SI, is that normally what happens is that I was just tired and that was it. And that is so annoying. Like to be an NJ and to really want to understand what's going on and what do they need to do. I'm just saying, if you're an NJ watching this and you feel like you've been in this situation before and you know what I'm talking about, chances are you just need to eat something or you're just tired. And that's it. And once you eat something and are tired or sleep, once you do something, then it's like you'll be fine again. Because I think that we forget how our bodies are so connected to our ability to, like, you know, use our brains effectively. And something I think about a lot is the way that if I worry about something unnecessarily, then that is actually like burning calories. Like thinking and like negative thinking and all that can like actually waste your energy that in ways that we don't know. And like sometimes like really like what that sort of episode that I was describing, it's really just burnout. And if you're burnt out, I mean, that's why it's called burnout. Like Crystal was saying, it's like the light went out, or like the light is, you know, or like the fire burning. It's like burnout. It's like really, what happens is I'm looking for such a deep solution, and there is no deep solution. The solution's simple, and it's go the fuck to sleep. Or like, you are just tired. You are not thinking straight. And I think that it would be very beneficial if NJs could realize that maybe if we aren't thinking straight, or maybe if we take care of our bodies, we'll be able to think straight. So let me know if that resonates with you all. Thank you for watching or for listening. If you guys did not already know, this is available on iTunes. Synchronic Saturdays is available on iTunes and SoundCloud. Thank you all who have been listening there. And if you do regularly listen there, other than the YouTube, let me know, because I'd love to hear more about how that experience is for you. And I already plugged earlier in the video, but if you do use Discord or are looking to sort of chat with people on maybe a deeper level than what my free Facebook group offers, I do recommend Cat Passionate Discord, who is an ENFJ, because that Discord is focused on self-growth. So if that's what you're interested in discussing personality stuff and really like diving into the self-growth, like they have voice chats and a bunch of other like ways, I would say, to make really deep connections with people that are already talking about this stuff. And if you aren't already, I do also have a free Facebook group that is about personality typology for self-growth. So if you're on Facebook, feel free to join that as well. As Crystal and I get better at developing these definitions, we are going to be offering a typing service like sometime soon. I can't tell you when it's going to be, but I'm pretty much just formulating what my stance on the matter is going to be, because I'm not Dave's superpowers. I don't have a checklist. You know, I don't have that sort of system, definition, checklist, scientific method. But what I do want to do, and I'm not even dismissing what he's doing, because I think that's tremendous. And if you weren't to go to me, like literally go to him, or like also go to him and go to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see it as a competition or anything like that. I recommend going to Dave and Shannon above all else if you're confused about your type and you want an objective way of seeing what your type is, because I think their checklist, you know, works. The system works. But for me, what I'm trying to figure out how to translate is, how can I share how I feel like I just see people really quickly. Like with FE, I just like FE and TI, I do it in a different way than Dave does. Like, and I don't really know how to translate that, but I do have people coming to me wanting to know what their type is, and I do have an answer for them. I could tell what their type is, but it's not something that I can objectively put into a system yet with TE, so I've been neglecting doing that. But so what I do want to do is be something where it isn't just my opinion, it's me and Crystal, or maybe looping in some other people too, to have sort of like a panel. And so that's what I'm like kind of wanting to build, is people that I trust as a panel, sort of typing you. But whenever I do offer that, I would want people to take it with a grain of salt, because it is just our perception. and I didn't really plan to get into this now, but I guess I am, and then I'll wrap up, is that I made a video the other day about how there are two things that you need to do when typing someone, and one is really understanding the system that you're using, and one is really understanding the person that you're looking at. And so I think one of the reasons why I have neglected to do any sort of typing or like answer those questions when people ask me, because the thing is that I never had the desire to offer any typing service, but what I've seen is that you all have the desire. And so that's why I'm trying to build something to match your desire, not because I'm interested in doing it, but because people do want to know what I think. And I'm trying to build something that I think is just and fair and ethical that can tell you what I think. But I think that my perception is prone to error, just like anybody else's. And if anyone does want to work with me in that capacity, know that it's just my perception. Perhaps you trust my perception because I have spent a lot of time honing in on what my perception is of people. And if that's the case, that's great. But even still, like very, very, very smart people get things wrong sometimes. And I don't even know if it is possible to be truly objective. Like even Dave and Shannon with their system, they've said this before, so this is no like shade to them, is that people are biased. Even if the system is completely perfect, they could get it wrong too, you know? No, and so anyone that is telling you that they know for absolute certain that they know what type you are is wrong. That's my opinion. But like if you know for absolute certain what somebody's type is, I think that is a major disservice. So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to share my opinion for those that do want to know my opinion. And it's more than just an opinion, because I am applying the principles that I've learned. I'm applying my knowledge and all of the time that I've taken sharpening my sword, I guess you could say, in this. But I'm excited about how, Synchronic Saturdays, Crystal and I are really, I feel like I'm really starting to learn some things. I'm really starting to understand, about what these functions are trying to do, and trying to find some words to fit the thing that my sort of FE and I will naturally just get about people. Because you might hear NFJs in particular sort of be like, I don't know, I just know. And it's like, I don't want to be that person that's just saying, I don't know, I just know. Trust me or don't trust me. I mean, that is how I feel, but like, oh my goodness, it's so hard to put into words how I know, because it's almost like this instant thing that then I have to take all the parts. I have to like take it apart and put it back together again. Because I don't start with the system and then apply it to the person. I like see the person. And then that I just try and see the person. And, like when Dave of Superpowers talks about seeing that tidal wave, I see the tidal wave like instantly. That's how I am when I look at people. I see what their tidal waves are. I see where their savior, where their demons are. I see these sorts of things in how people are, and I just have a really hard time putting that to words in a logical way, and I get very easily frustrated whenever I have to then tap into my logical side. So that's my tidal wave for you. But anyway, sorry for rambling so much about that, but the point I was even saying about that is if you're interested in something like that when it's ready, I do have a link below that you can give me your contact information if you would like to be notified when that service is ready. So join us next week for more talk about NI and how it's used to understand, and have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful rest of your day.